Hello everyone, and welcome to the character appraisal of L from Death Note. And I shall be looking at the likes and dislikes I found about the character and give an overall assessment with a letter grade. Well, as you can see, there are a few improvements I made to my visual approach, and if you don't like them, then... But if you don't mind, then let's get right down to business, and I hope you will be entertained. His extreme and deductive skills, which are determined by the way that he sits, are extraordinary. This is not just because of how smart it proves him to be, but at how flexible and objective he really is. There is no possibility he won't consider before making a move. He even goes as far as being self-assessing, which makes him very sincere and shows so much about him that if lacking these qualities, you would have thought of him as a geeky stereotype. And surely only L can boast of being able to fly a helicopter by intuition alone. And he makes it sound so perfunctory and obvious. It's as if he were saying, a drunken monkey could do it. L is a character who believes in true justice. He is determined to follow his beliefs through and through. That is not to say that he is not flexible. He works ever changing his thinking according to the situation, guided by a fundamental principle, which is to do his brand of justice. Whether or not this can be called justice is up to the one watching, as he is so complicated and it could be argued either way. Personally, I feel that his kind of justice is governed by the law as it is written and leans more to the strict and technical application of legal aspects. This, of course, makes things way more interesting than simply painting him black or white, and bends the rules to different levels of moral tolerance for all of us. For example, was it alright for him to use a death row inmate in his place in order to figure out an aspect of a case, even if said inmate was scheduled to be executed on the day? This, among many other scenarios, lent L a deep and interesting character. He is socially awkward in as far as his mannerisms and habits and clothes go. Let's list some of these aspects, shall we? He walks barefoot, he bites his nails, which is pretty understandable considering some of the tense situations he finds himself in, and he does not like touching things, holding them delicately as if he were handling evidence that is not to be tampered with. And, of course, he sits crouched down, because that's 50% of his deductive skills right there. Oh, and did I mention that he has a thing for pastries, but this particular quirk will be examined upon, on its own. And he also has a knack for being a very imposing third wheel, with statements such as, oh, you can still go on dates, but it'll have to be the three of us. Or, when quizzed about kissing in front of him, he says, I'm not telling you to do anything, but yes, I suppose I would be watching. However, as I said, that is as far as it goes, as when he interacts with people, he is more than capable and confident. He can even be manipulative and assertive, and great at handling sticky situations. And the plus to all this is that he is very good at impressions. Like seriously, check out his Gollum impersonation. A more intelligent, non-split personality version, but still. Rarely do you see him with no sweets in front of him, and talking a lot while doing it. L has more than what you would call a sweet tooth. Bring on the sugar. Lots and lots and lots of sugar. And you wouldn't think so by how chilled and bored he always looks. You would think that he would be bouncing off the walls or something, but no, he talks difficult cases while high on sugar. If there are no sweets in front of him, he licks his fingers. I won't be surprised if his hands are imbued with sweetness like a Teddiursa from Pokemon at this point. It's so out there that it always makes me see him with the queen of complete confection, Katy Perry, and little gummy bear babies. Gummy bears. Going by his face alone, you might actually come to the conclusion that he has no emotion and is constantly depressed. His indifferent facial expression and lazy drawl is consistently the same with slight fluctuations here and there. However, his tone of voice is full of life and character. He is able to show his emotions, which are wide-ranging, even with such limited facial expressions and emotional outbursts. But you might have to pay attention to notice these. He tends to speak and act the same. However, his overall conduct is dynamic and adaptive, seen in how he can easily read people and is able to deal with people who, in comparison to him, look like they would eat him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the social department. L is stronger and more athletic than he looks, evidenced in how he is great at tennis and can actually hold his own in a fist fight, but he substitutes feet for fists in the latter. This all bolsters his confrontational nature, calculated and thoughtful as it may be, and shows he attacks things head-on, which I like, because it is so unexpected from a person of his usual demeanor. One more thing of note is that when it comes to any sort of perversion on his part, well, You know I have to bring it up somehow, right? Whenever L does something akin to perverted behavior, it all seems innocently oblivious or calculated, keeping him a character who we can take seriously. But somehow this weaseled into the picture, and fangirls everywhere had something to visualize and fantasize about. I know, they just couldn't resist giving him some sexiness. This is not so much a dislike as it is a question that he teeters across during the show, which is he too good to be true? Was he made so perfect in his deductive and planning skills that it rendered him too predictable and possibly annoying? In one hand, I would answer that he is too perfect, and that his reactions to situations, they seem a bit too much in his wheelhouse and fit him too snugly, and sometimes he'll seem pulled out of a hat. On the other hand, the fact that he sticks to his guns at all times with very few compromises and his inability to cheat his own principles may be seen as a weakness by some. I guess the fact that his character brings such a question in the first place is a good thing, as a character who is too easily discerned is very bland indeed. On a personal note, another thing that rubbed me the wrong way was how he looks down upon those he considers to be stupid people. He is a character who has experienced so much success in his field that he tends not to acknowledge those he believes not to be as smart as he is. To comical effect usually, but looking at it closer, his condescending nature irritates me sometimes. But that's just me. Holistically, I will give L the letter grade of A, because he manages to portray very stereotypical characteristics in a very unique way. Being able to invoke emotions from sympathy to laughter, thrilling seriousness, excitement, and even anger with just an expressionless face and tone-driven voice is no small feat. You root for him even if you have reservations about him. He is a character who managed to have me change my mind about him so many times and yet have a constant underlying wish for him to succeed ultimately. You may ask, does he succeed? Well, you'll have to watch Death Note to find out. Trying to keep those spoilers to a minimum, But maybe this expression of mine will help. So that's it for L, and I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did making it. Thank you so much for watching. Click the like button and subscribe for more self-indulgent character appraisals. Until next time, I am Zakes and take care.